Most people saw him as homeless. Nobody knew he was building the future of AI in a public library. I never intended to be a billionaire, not in my wildest dreams. But life has a way of forcing you to invent your own path. It all started 18 months ago in the Seattle Public Library. Third floor, computer lab, quiet corner. Most people come here to study or read. I came here to change the game. For 12 to 14 hours a day, I worked on something nobody believed could exist outside a lab backed by millions of dollars. Mobile AI algorithms, next-generation processing power. I wasn't just tinkering, I was rewriting the rules. 7 patents in total, all approved. Smartphones, tablets, autonomous vehicles, IoT devices. The applications were endless. Most people saw a homeless man staring at a laptop, probably dreaming too big. What they didn't see was the code, the algorithms that could make devices think faster than ever before. I had no office, no fancy equipment, just free Wi-Fi, a quiet room, and a vision. Then came Michael Parker, CEO of Parker Tech, the kind of man who smelled opportunity like sharks smell blood. I had been careful, patient, preparing every detail. When I slid the folder across his polished desk, I could see his eyes light up. This is remarkable work, Darius," he said. His voice was half excitement, half calculation. "The improvements alone could revolutionize our mobile division. Where did you develop all this?" I smiled. Perfect opening. Seattle Public Library, main branch, 3rd floor. Amazing what you can accomplish when you have unlimited time and no distractions. He frowned slightly. "The public library?" "When you're homeless, Michael, libraries become your office." I said it calmly, watching his reaction. Homeless. The word always makes wealthy people uncomfortable. But I had learned early on, it's not about their discomfort, it's about the truth. Grace had told him at the wedding, called me human garbage. But here, in that office, the stakes were higher. Michael was already imagining the billions he could make with minimal investment. I explained the licensing deal, regional exclusivity, 20% of gross revenue from any product using the technology. His face changed slightly. 20% seems high. I leaned back. Google offered me $300 million for worldwide rights. I'm giving you regional exclusivity. It's the deal of a lifetime, Michael. His mind was already racing. He could see the potential, billions, minimal risk. "He'll need our technical team to verify the algorithms," he said. Of course, I expected nothing less. He pressed his intercom. "Jennifer, get me David Kim from R&D. Emergency meeting." David Kim arrived 5 minutes later. Head of R&D, MIT PhD, brilliant, meticulous. If anyone could detect flaws or spot the truth, they would. I slid him the folder. His eyes widened as he scanned the files. "Mr. Parker, this is extraordinary. These optimization protocols could increase our processing efficiency by 45%. Michael leaned back, practically vibrating with excitement. But David was careful. 24 hours for preliminary review, 72 for comprehensive testing. Michael nodded. Priority 1. Cancel everything else. Once David left, Michael turned to me. "Darius, you've been working on this. Where exactly? You mentioned challenges recently." Perfect. Timing is everything. I developed everything here, in the library, over 18 months, 12 to 14 hours a day. Homelessness doesn't stop progress, it focuses it. Michael's expression shifted. The truth always unsettles people like him. Grace had tried to humiliate me at her wedding, calling me crazy, useless. But here, in that office, the weight of what I'd built was undeniable.
The real suspense began in that silence. Michael was hungry, not for justice, for profit. He wanted the edge, the advantage, the power. And I was about to test just how far greed could take a man. Because what Michael didn't know, what nobody knew yet, was that the technology he was salivating over carried secrets that could destroy him, secrets that only the right person could see. And that person was already inside his building.
Michael Parker thought he was buying innovation, but he was stepping into a trap he couldn't even see. Michael Parker's office smelled of power and ambition, expensive leather chairs, polished oak, glass walls, and yet for the first time I could see doubt creeping in, not about me, about what he'd just glimpsed on paper. I slid the folder across his desk. He opened it eagerly, scanning technical specs. His lips parted slightly. This could transform our mobile division. How did you even develop this? I repeated my story. Seattle Public Library, 18 months, 12 to 14 hours a day. He frowned at the word homeless. Libraries become offices when you have no other choice. Quiet, free internet, controlled environment. Perfect. Michael shifted. He wanted control. What kind of licensing arrangement are you thinking? Exclusive partnership. You get North American rights, I take 20% of gross revenue from any products using the tech. His eyes narrowed. 20%? That's high. Google offered me $300 million for worldwide rights. Exactly. I'm giving you regional exclusivity, billions in potential revenue, minimal upfront risk. It's the deal of a lifetime. I could see it, calculations running behind his eyes. Michael Parker, Shark CEO, suddenly patient and cautious. He pressed his intercom. Jennifer, get David Kim from R&D. Emergency meeting, now. David arrived in 5 minutes. Korean-American, MIT PhD, brilliant, meticulous. I knew if anyone could see what I'd hidden in the algorithms, it would be him. I handed him the folder. His eyes widened as he flipped through. Mr. Parker, these optimization protocols, 45% efficiency gain. Extraordinary. Michael's excitement grew, but David was careful. 24 hours for preliminary review, 72 hours for comprehensive testing. Michael nodded. Make it priority 1. Cancel everything else. Once David left, Michael leaned forward. Where did you say you developed this? The library. Homelessness gave me focus. Michael shifted uncomfortably. Homelessness always unnerves the wealthy. Grace had tried to humiliate me at her wedding, calling me human garbage. But here, the truth was undeniable. Michael was practically drooling over the deal, but he had no idea he was playing with fire. Parker Tech's internal systems, their mobile operating division, everything they were proud of, everything he had built, my fingerprints were already there. I knew David Kim would spot the overlap first. The real suspense, Michael Parker didn't even know that by the next morning, his greed would become his undoing. Because when David Kim uncovered the full truth, Parker Tech's empire would start to crumble, and the man who called me homeless would realize just how costly underestimating me had been.
Sometimes the truth hides in plain sight, and when it's finally uncovered, it can destroy even the most powerful. The next morning, David Kim called me at 6:23 a.m. His voice was tense, almost shaking. Mr. Miller, we need to talk, immediately. I smiled faintly. I already suspected what he had found. Over the phone? I asked. No. Conference room. Soundproof. No recordings. An hour later, I arrived at Parker Tech. David was waiting in the lobby. Dark circles under his eyes, 3 coffee cups stacked like trophies of sleepless nights. He led me into conference room C, closed the door, and pulled out a thick folder labeled Confidential Analysis, Miller Algorithms. Mr. Miller, be honest with me. Did you work for Miller Innovations between 2019 and 2021? I nodded. I owned it. Why? David's hands trembled as he spread dozens of documents, source code comparisons, patent filings, algorithm analyses. 73% of Parker Tech's mobile operating system, it's built on your algorithms, he said quietly. Not just inspired, directly derived. The legal paperwork says acquired, but your development timestamps show these were your improvements after the acquisition. I let that sink in. Parker Tech had been using my updated algorithms, my work, without a license, for 8 months. David continued, voice low, almost reverent. You could sue. The damages, they'd be enormous. The mobile division generated $47 million in profit last year. You could claim all of it, plus punitive damages for willful infringement. He hesitated. I found internal emails, Mr. Parker instructing the team to enhance your algorithms using public research. He knew. I leaned back, letting it all settle. So why offer a licensing deal instead of suing immediately? David looked at me, genuinely curious. You're letting him hang himself? I smiled. Exactly. Greed is a powerful trap. He won't see it coming. By the time the board met that afternoon, Parker Tech had no idea what was coming. Grace was already launching her social media offensive. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, each post carefully designed to discredit me, to paint me as a delusional homeless man claiming false genius. Viral posts, death threats, public humiliation, the media ate it up. The narrative was perfect. The mentally unstable homeless man threatening a tech empire. And yet, she made one critical mistake. Every post she published, every video, tweet, and claim was evidence of malicious defamation. Google, investors, the tech press, they all started pausing, questioning their association. That $300 million acquisition could be at risk. By 2 p.m., the Parker Tech Emergency Board meeting began. 12 board members, 3 lawyers, 2 patent experts, and a reporter from TechCrunch. Michael Parker tried to keep it private, but word spreads fast when billions are at stake. I entered quietly, carrying the evidence that would destroy his empire. Grace was smugly sitting in the back, recording everything for social media. She thought she was winning. She had no idea the game had already changed. Because in the next 60 minutes, every lie she had spun, every smear she had posted would crumble, and the board would see the truth about the man they all thought was a fraud.
In the world of power and wealth, the truth is the deadliest weapon. And sometimes it's already in your hands before anyone realizes it. The clock struck 2 p.m. when the Parker Tech boardroom doors closed. 12 of Seattle's most influential business leaders, 3 high-powered lawyers, 2 patent experts, and a single reporter from TechCrunch filled the room. Every chair had been taken, every eye focused on the unfolding drama. Grace Parker, her phone raised in one hand, sat in the back corner filming every angle. She looked confident, smug even, as if the entire city of Seattle would soon bow before her social media mastery. Michael Parker, the CEO, tried to maintain composure. His polished navy suit did little to hide the tension in his shoulders. I could see the weight of 3 decades of building a tech empire pressing down on him, now teetering on the edge of collapse. He called the meeting to order. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to address the patent infringement claims made by Mr. Darius Miller. Grace smiled from the corner. Her viral social media storm over the past 48 hours had already painted me as a homeless con artist,
a mentally unstable opportunist exploiting their family for financial gain. Half of Seattle, and apparently the board, expected me to crumble. Our legal team has prepared a response, Michael Parker continued, his voice steady but strained. Harrison Webb, Parker Tech's lead attorney, $500 an hour expertise in crushing patent trolls in so-called nuisance lawsuits. His tone was cold, precise. Mr. Miller's claims are baseless, Webb began, as he has no technical background, no development resources, and no credible explanation for how he could have created the advanced AI algorithms in question. Furthermore, his personal circumstances, homelessness, documented mental health issues suggest this is nothing more than an opportunistic attempt at extortion. He gestured to a series of printouts, social media screenshots, TikTok videos, Instagram posts, Twitter threads, each designed to frame me as delusional, dangerous, and manipulative. Grace's smirk widened as the board members nodded along. Exactly as expected. Her plan was flawless, or so she thought. Webb continued. Additionally, Parker Tech's algorithms were developed independently by our internal R&D team, led by Dr. David Kim, whose credentials include an MIT PhD in computer science. We have documentation proving all disputed technology was developed internally. Grace practically glowed. The narrative was perfectly aligned. The homeless man with no resources versus the prestigious tech giant. Victory seemed inevitable. Michael Parker finally addressed me directly. Mr. Miller, would you like to respond to these allegations? I rose slowly, the room falling into a tense silence. I opened my briefcase with deliberate slowness, pulling out a single sheet of paper. I'd like to introduce some evidence, I said calmly, my voice carrying the authority that only truth can give. The board members leaned forward. Grace froze, her phone still recording but her confidence flickering. First, I handed out copies of my Wells Fargo bank statement dated July 8, 2024. Current balance, $299,700,000. The room went dead silent. Not even Grace could mask her surprise. This is the proceeds from Google's acquisition of my patent portfolio. 7 algorithms purchased for $300 million on June 17th. I pulled out the second document, Google's official press release published across TechCrunch, Wired, and the Wall Street Journal. The headline screamed validation. Google acquires revolutionary AI technology from independent developer Darius Miller for $300 million. Grace's smile faltered. The third document, patent registrations, US 1084732 through US 1084735. Filed 18 months ago, approved 6 months ago. Every single patent verified, validated, and recognized by the tech world. I made eye contact with each board member as I presented the fourth document. The internal source code analysis performed by their own R&D team. Dr. David Kim's report clearly indicated that 73% of Parker Tech's mobile operating system relied on my algorithms. Dr. David Kim, seated at the technical advisor table, nodded grimly. The room began to shift. Uncertainty rippled through the faces of those who had previously nodded confidently. Next, the timeline analysis. Parker Tech had been using my updated algorithms for 8 months without licensing rights. Finally, I presented the internal emails from Michael Parker, instructing his development team to enhance my algorithms using publicly available research. Michael's face went white. The kind of white that comes when a lifetime of authority and power suddenly teeters on the brink of collapse. Grace opened her mouth to speak, but I held up my phone. I cued her own TikTok video from yesterday. People like Darius Miller prey on guilt and sympathy. They create elaborate fantasies about being secret geniuses. It's manipulation, pure and simple. Her own words played for the entire room. 1.2 million views. Every lie she had spun about me now proved to be false in the eyes of anyone watching. "Grace," I said, calm but cutting, "if I'm a delusional homeless man with no technical background, how did Google validate my work with the largest patent acquisition of 2024? She opened her mouth, closed it. No answer. Not a single defense. I turned to the board. "Your daughter has spent the last 48 hours publicly defaming me, claiming I am a fraud and a con artist, all while knowing full well that Google validated my patent. Every video is evidence of malicious defamation." The boardroom was quiet now. Deadly quiet. Even Harrison Webb, Parker Tech's top attorney, looked tense, calculating the legal exposure now glaringly apparent. Board member Darius Chen finally spoke. "Mr. Miller, what are you seeking in damages?" "Patent infringement," I said calmly. "$47 million in direct damages, plus punitive awards for willful infringement. Defamation, an additional $20 million for reputational damage and interference with business relationships. $67 million minimum. Could be higher depending on jury assessment." Michael Parker, CEO of Parker Tech Solutions, looked at his daughter, who was still holding her phone. Her social media empire of humiliation had collapsed in real time. Then something unexpected happened. Michael Parker stood. He bowed. 7 seconds. Every camera in the room, every phone, every pair of eyes caught it. 7 seconds of humiliation. 7 seconds of acknowledgement that the empire he had built on theft and manipulation was crumbling. When he straightened, his voice was barely a whisper. "Mr. Miller, on behalf of Parker Tech Solutions, I formally apologize for the unauthorized use of your patented technology." The room was silent. 12 of Seattle's most influential business leaders witnessing a tech empire crumble in real time. "Furthermore, I apologize for my daughter's defamatory statements about your character and mental health. Her actions do not reflect the values of this company. We are prepared to negotiate a settlement to fairly compensate you for damages incurred." Grace's phone wavered in her hand. She no longer had the smug confidence she had carried in. Her TikTok empire, her viral campaigns, everything she had used to attack me, rendered useless by the cold, undeniable proof of truth. $67 million, I said. 47 for patent infringement, 20 for defamation damages. Cash only. Immediate transfer. The CFO whispered something to Michael. After a tense moment, Michael nodded grimly. "It will require emergency liquidation